On this week's show, Peloton holds their latest earning call and an analyst predicts a price increase.
Peloton clarifies their support for the guide, and Hannah Corbin teases a new program, and much, much more.
Welcome to Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. Here are your hosts, Amanda Siegel and Chris Lewis.
Welcome to episode 233 of Pelo Buddy TV, a show by the community for the community. I'm Chris Lewis, and I'm joined this week again by Holly Krabby Cakes. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for joining us again this week.
Of course.
It was, as we predicted, a pretty busy week with the earnings call taking place and a lot of other news happening around the industry.
Yeah, sure was. You listened in on the earnings call.
I did. So we'll get into that in just a second. But before we start, we always like to start the show by reminding people how you can find us. We're on YouTube as a podcast. So just search for Pelo Buddy and you can find us and watch us on video. We're on all traditional podcast platforms. So just search for Pelo Buddy TV and you can follow us as a podcast. And finally, we're on all social media platforms. Just look for us on Pelo Buddy and you can find all the latest updates as they happen. And if you enjoy the show, you can find us on Patreon and support the show. And with that, we will get right into the news this week.
First, let's do a rundown of the latest Pelo news.
All right. And as Holly said, our first topic this week is the earnings call, which took place this week. There was, they covered a lot of news, but at the same time, they didn't really go into what everyone is waiting on. And that's kind of what the price increase is going to be. But when they started talking about it, Peter Stabler finally laid out some of the strategy for the company and went into a couple things that will be impacting members. One of the things he talked about how Peloton is going to re-expand their retail presence. They'd opened that one micro showroom in Nashville towards the end of last year, and they've got one other one. He specifically said they're going to aim to have 10 of those total by the end of the calendar year to get ready for this upcoming holiday season. Looking at other things, he also mentioned that they are going to be making adjustments to the prices to increase profitability. And he said this was to reflect the true cost that they're seeing, including shipping, returns, tariffs, and other fees, as well as to better reflect the value that we provide to our members. They did not mention what the adjustment is going to be at this price. I don't really see any world that it's not an increase. You know, he said adjustment, but I doubt they're dropping it. I imagine they're going to wait until after they share the new product roadmap to reveal that. So we're going to have to wait a little bit longer. Another way they're going to be adjusting the fees is they're going to be adding an assembly fee. Historically, when you bought a bike, tread, or row, you know, it's come with free delivery and free assembly. Yeah. It sounds like they're going to be adding an assembly fee. So they're going to give you the option now. You've been able to order the bike and get the kind of the self-assembly. They're going to be expanding that to the row and the tread. So you're going to be able to get free delivery and 100 boxes if you want to assemble it yourself, or you're now going to have to pay a fee to get it professionally assembled for you.
I mean, can you imagine trying to put together the Tread Plus?
Yeah, that's the one device that it might not be optional. But we'll have to wait and see, you know, which ones and what those fees end up being. A bit of unfortunate news is that even though Peloton's going to be adjusting prices, they shared that their expenses remain too high. So due to this, they're actually going through another restructuring plan that started now where they aim to save $100 million by the end of the next fiscal year. Unfortunately, this does involve laying off some of the Peloton employees. It's going to be approximately 6% of the employees. They didn't really say what departments, but it sounds like that's going to be pretty immediate with some of the team being laid off. And, you know, around a year ago, when Barry McCarthy left, they implemented a layoff plan then, which was around 400 people to save $200 million. So less than a year later, they're doing another round of layoffs, unfortunately, to restructure and save on some cost.
And Chris, what do you think about we're not talking instructors. Do you think?
I don't think so. I imagine that with the contract negotiations they did, that was probably at least for 2 years. Yeah. So we probably won't see any changes there until summertime of next year. So I imagine this is probably, I don't know what departments, but kind of all over the place. But, you know, 6% is going to be a 100, 200 people. So impacting a large number of people, unfortunately.
Yeah, I had just seen a lot of people asking questions on social media about the instructors, and I agree with you. I don't think they're going after instructors. I think it's going to be some other department.
Yeah. And then, in addition to that, they did go through some of the actual financial numbers. They had $607 million of revenue, which was better than analysts expected. They had 5 cents per share of earnings per revenue, which is better than expected. So when these numbers first came out, the stock shot up like 15%.
Right.
But by the end of that day, it was down to like just up by 1%. So people were super excited at first. And I guess they dug into the numbers and looked at some other things because Peloton also shared that in 2026, they're expecting revenue of 2.4 to 2.5 billion for the year. But that's actually a decrease year over year because they are expecting a drop in sales, a continued decrease in Peloton hardware and subscriptions year over year. So they are expecting both the sales and the subscribers to drop for 1 year to another. So there's a lot of information in this earnings call. We're going to be kind of covering a couple pieces more in depth over the next week or two. So we'll have a little more to share in upcoming episodes, kind of deep diving into some of these various areas.
I'm glad we have you that listened in and can piece this together for some of us who didn't listen to the earning call and can get the information that way. So one of the next things I was going to talk about was Morgan Stanley had made a prediction that Peloton is going to raise their cost of the all access membership. And this isn't talking about the app, just the basic app membership. This is the all access one where we have the hardware included.
Yep.
And so they're talking about raising it approximately $5 at the beginning of the year. And currently the bike subscription is $44 and it'll be about $49. And they said they hadn't had a price increase in the last earning call. Peter Stern talked about how they hadn't had an increase for a very long time. I think it was
2022 is when they bumped it from $39 to $44.
$45. And internationally, they've never had an increase. So the newest projected price hike caused Peloton shares to increase, like you were talking about. So we're not sure if that was people were excited or what happened there. But at the end of the day, it did decrease again.
Yeah, I'm not entirely surprised that they didn't, this was just an analyst from Morgan Stanley projecting. It wasn't Peloton saying. I'm not surprised that Peloton didn't announce it now. I do think they're going to wait. Peter Stern has been talking about how he's got this new product roadmap and innovation roadmap he wants to share. I feel like they're going to share that first, and that's going to be in the next month or two. And then either just before or during the next earnings call is when they'll probably announce the, subscription increase, the, additional fees on delivery, whether they increase it beyond that too, and kind of have that in place for the holiday season, possibly to go in effect, on January 1st of the next calendar year.
And they're also taking in effect when they make these predictions that a lot of people cancel their memberships or not buy new hardware. So, this is just a price adjustment that we would have to make if we decide to keep our equipment.
Right.
So,
Well, in other news, Peloton has continued to build out their executive team. They've hired a new chief information officer, and the new hire is Farrell. And he joined Peloton having previously been the CTO and senior vice president at Pearson and holding a senior role at Comcast. Peloton shared that he would be focusing on shaping the enterprise system strategy and driving the execution of our company-wide technology roadmap. So, He follows the hiring of a CTO in June. So we got a new CTO, we've got a new CIO. There was a new chief marketing officer recently. And it turns out that Farrell, who's this new chief information officer, is going to be reporting into the chief operating officer. So that's been a new hire who's going to be, starting right around now.
Awesome. Well, as we talked about last week, you and I discussed the guide. They're not selling the guide anymore. Peloton has ceased selling the guide. However, we got some more information about that they are going to still support it functionality wise, and they're going to continue doing updates, and they're going to continue doing like any kind of product enhancements, but that they're not going to be selling the device anymore. But if you do buy one that's used or you decide to reactivate your guide membership, all of that will still be available. And they
For
talked
now.
about that, yeah, for now. And they talked about giving ample notice, but they didn't exactly say what that ample notice would be, unless they were talking about the membership price increase on the guide membership. They said they would give 30 days notice for that, but otherwise, ample notice could be anything. It could be a day,
and that's ample notice for if they ever, change the functionality support or stop letting access classes. So I think they'll continue to support it for the time being, and probably we're good for another year or two. But these technology devices are never supported indefinitely, so I think they're just laying the groundwork for when they do eventually decide to stop supporting it down the road. They've given notice already that they'll give a month or 2 or 6 months. And then, at some point it'll stop working. But the big question,
it's kind of like your Apple Watch, your first generation Apple Watch. It stops getting supported and it stops updating, and then you just get the newest and greatest and latest thing.
Yeah, unfortunately for the guide users, it doesn't sound like there is going to be a new guide.
It's going to be
so
a
it might be
guide
something
too,
else,
right.
But yeah.
It could be something else, like maybe the screens we talked about last week. Yeah, so it could be that.
Yeah. Well, turning to classes, we had an Oasis artist series this week that took place on Thursday, August 7th, and there were a total of 9 classes, including some in German, and it was across 5 different modalities. So the majority of those took place Thursday, and then there was, I believe, 2 on Friday. So you can find a full list of those classes in the article on our website.
Great. We also had Hannah teasing a new program. She had a class on July 18th. That was 45-minute bar. And she spoke about having a new program coming out in the fall. And while she was explaining this, she was stretching, and she kind of nodded toward her new book that's coming out. And Did You Stretch, though? But she said it would not have that title, that it would have a different title, but it would be a program from her. So that's very exciting news.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like it's going to be a stretching or mobility type program.
Yeah.
So, you know, people who want more stretches will have that as an option sometime this fall.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Peloton shared their normal This Week at Peloton post with a selection of featured classes for the week. The first class that they featured was a 10-minute daily meditation from Anna Greenberg. We then had a 30-minute Pilates power and strength class from Emma Lovewell, which she actually taught from London because she's over there this week while the New York studios swaps their closure to the strength and the yoga studio. We saw a 30-minute Disney 2000s ride with Camila Ramon. And that dropped Tuesday at noon. And then finally, Kirsten Ferguson had a 60-minute walk plus run, which took place today on Sunday. And that was your featured classes for This Week at Peloton.
Well, and the Germans, they released a summer break classes and schedule and workout. This is not their first year of doing so. This is their 4th year of having this collection. And the collection surrounds going on vacation, either in Germany or Austria. And they released 9 classes. And 8 of them are 2-for-1s, which is so fun. The one that's not is a cool down ride by Benny. And I heard Benny say that he was actually supposed to be the one that was in with Cliff, but he got sick and Eric busted in there. But if you like Benny's music, he said that his music choices were still left into the class. So those would be great classes to take because everybody loves the 2-for-1s and the banter between the instructors.
Yeah, and those are there's a summer break collection. So if you want to find them easily, you can look for that collection and find the new classes from this year there. Yeah. And then sticking with Germany, there is another new German collection. It translates to Your Combination of the Month, and this is a selection of 6 different classes, and it's designed to be a full stack. So there's a warm-up, a strength, a ride, a run, a stretch, and a meditation. And it sounds like it's going to be every month they're going to put a different stack out there from the German community. And this is just if you want a well-rounded, stack to take in one day, you can take this entire stack and kind of have your workout designed for you. So you can find that in the collections area. And again, we'll probably see it swapped over on September 1st to be a new stack.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a great idea because then you can just take that one stack that they've created for you. You don't have to think about it. You can just do it. So that sounds really cool. Well, another in instructor news, Chase Sapphire exclusively sent out a something on Instagram that said you could sign up for a dentist class. And that class will be held on September 26th, and it's a hip hop class. It costs 35,000 Chase Ultimate Reward points or $35. Oh, 3,500. Did I say 35,000? That's a lot of points.
Yeah.
You better get to ride to the class with Dennis. So this class is 3,500 Chase points or $35, which is the normal price. And it includes the ride and the picture with the instructor. They have done this several times before, and they also have a partnership with Hilton and Hyatt as well. So this Chase exclusive classes, you may see more come up since they've extended their relationship till 2027.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's not for any Chase card. This is just if you have that premium Chase Sapphire Reserve. So it's only open to them. But, it was open for a couple hours. We've seen some of them fill up immediately, but this one was actually open the vast majority of the day. It did fill up. But, if you're at home, you're not really going to notice any difference. It's going to be live and on demand like normal. So, it'll be there for you to take.
It'll be full of Chase credit card holders.
Yep. And then we have another instructor meet and greet, but this time it's going to be in Australia, which is, I believe, only the second or third time that instructors have been to events in Australia. But Susie Chan and Jeffrey McEachern are going to be in Sydney, Australia on August 30th, Saturday from 6:30 to 9 a.m. And they're going to be leading a shakeout run. This is the weekend of the Sydney Marathon. So I know Jeffrey's going to be running it. I'm not entirely sure if Susie's going to be running it as well.
Yeah.
But, the marathon's going to be on Sunday. So Saturday, they're going to lead this 5K shakeout run. It's going to start at Glory Days, which is a restaurant down there. Anyone, kind of any speed is going to be welcome. There's going to be 3 different groups. And so we've got RSVP info. It's free, but you do need to RSVP to sign up. And we've got that information in the show notes on our website.
Did you see you get to take a swim too?
I did. Optional
so you did the 5K
swim at the end.
Optional swim. I thought that was fun. Well, this week we also have some birthdays. There's a lot of Leos out there. We've got Jess Sims that had a birthday on Tuesday, and Alex Toussaint had a birthday on Wednesday, and Olivia had a birthday on Friday. So happy birthday to all those instructors.
Yeah, happy birthday, everyone.
Yeah.
And then it's time for Instructors in the News. And our first story this week is that Selena Samuela is continuing her book club, but in a different way. She's partnering with Spotify, and they're doing an audiobook challenge. They're calling it the Lit and Fit Challenge. And you need Spotify Premium, but once you have that, you basically pick a tier you want to do. And it's basically whether you want to do 60 minutes, 2 to 3 hours, or 3 hours or more per week. And
per
you
week.
just, per week, not per day. So that's how many you want to do per week. But you just listen to a book and do, a walk or something outside. And then you tag Selena and let her know you're doing it.
And do you tag Spotify too? And do you have to put a picture up on Instagram, right?
If it's on Instagram, it's got to be with a picture, but I'm not sure. It doesn't specify what the picture has to be. So you just are supposed to tag the two of them to, join that.
And in other Selena news, she is having twins. She announced that today on Instagram, which is super fun.
Yeah, congratulations.
I predicted that one. Chris and I had a banter, and I was like, I think Selena's going to have twins. So congratulations.
Yeah, she had been teasing 2 big announcements this week. One of the announcements ended up being the book club, and the other announcement being the twins. So
that's right.
I'm sure she's very excited about that. And she shared a fun little video on her Instagram if you want to go kind of, sharing it with her family and that sort of news.
That's great. That's great.
And then later this fall, Maddie and Tunde are going to be co-hosting an event with Athlete Ally. It's going to be the Athlete Ally Action Awards, which is an evening where they celebrate efforts to foster a future of sport that is inclusive and safe for all people. The event is going to be honoring the WNBA champions, the New York Liberty, and it's also going to be celebrating the Ohio State University chapter. And the event's going to be on Thursday, October 23rd at Tribeca 360 in New York from 6 to 10 p.m. And this is an open event that you can get tickets to and attend if you're interested. So check that out if you're going to be in New York and are able to attend on October 23rd. And that'll be Maddie and Tunde being the co-host.
Oh, that sounds neat. So RK was on a podcast called Live Better this week. And in the podcast, I listened to part of it. If you're an RK lover, you should listen to this podcast.
Rebecca Kennedy.
It's really good. Yes, Rebecca Kennedy. It's really good. She talks about how she started in group fitness, how she would take the train from New York to Boston to be an NFL cheerleader. She talks about boutique fitness. She talks about what she thinks is coming down the pipes for fitness. She talks about how she was picked to be a tread instructor by Foley. She talks about all kinds of things about motivation, what she like, nutrition. Her and the guy had such a great banter. The gentleman's name is Jay Sliano, and he's a CEO of Sabra. So they had a really great banter. So if you're looking for that, that was on Apple Podcasts. And the name of the podcast is Live Better, Liv, capital Better.
Nice. And that wraps up the instructors in the news. And that takes us to class picks of the week. And do you want to get us started?
I do. So the first one that was suggested was by Jess M821 is Tunde's 30-minute Burner Boy ride on July 31st at 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. She says she loved her first Burner Boy ride and loved this one as well. Also, we had Kirsten Ferguson. Now, I recommended this one. This was a 30-minute trap run on August 1st at 12 a.m. And I liked it because Kirsten talked about her marathon and she talked about how modification is not a cancellation. And I really took that one to heart because that's a really great mantra to keep. The next one we have is Hannah Marie Corbin's 30-minute bar sculpt on August 1st as well at 9:30 a.m. And that was recommended by Just Dance Lisa and AMA Jar 3. So tough. Love that they're turning up the heat in bar. I agree. I mean, I think that I found myself sweating buckets when I took the 45-minute. I was like, I could have done a run. I mean, that's how sweaty I was. I was like, this is like crazy. So I think they're really doing some tough stuff in bar now.
Nice. Well, then we got Hannah Frankson in our 30-minute progressive push from August 2nd at 4:30 a.m. Eastern. This came from My Own Tune, who said perfect level of challenge and great playlist. And then we have Charlotte Wiedenbach and a 30-minute metal ride, which was in English from August 2nd at 7 a.m. Eastern. This came from Cheesecake K and Pantera CFH3, who said her metal rides are always amazing.
And the next one we have is a DT's 45-minute slow flow from August 2nd. And that was from me too. It was great for runners and not anything a newbie like myself could not do. She did a lot of hip openers, which I think was great. And it was nothing I couldn't figure out. It was all very simple moves. So I really enjoyed that one. The next one we have is Kiera, 30-minute advanced beginner yoga flow on August 2nd at 12. Filthy NYC and AMA Jar 3 both recommended this and said it was just a really great flow. And the last one I have is Bex Gentry 45-minute endurance run on August 3rd at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that was from Just Dance Lisa. And she said it was so well coached and she just got us through it.
And then we got Ash Pryor in her 30-minute endurance row from August 3rd at 7:30 a.m. This came from Gwen Gets To, who said this row is the second in Ash's new Love Letter series. I love the uplifting messaging and easy endurance intervals. And then we have Nico Serrani in her 30-minute slow flow in English from August 3rd at 2 p.m. This came from Filthy NYC, who said great vibes from Nico in this one. And then we have Rebecca Kennedy in her 45-minute full body strength from August 3rd at 2:30 p.m. This came from Fish and Phil T, who said no repeat exercise and a great playlist.
And the next one we have is from Cliff and Eric. That was that 30-minute 2-for-1 summer break ride on August 4th at noon. From Anna Feld, 28, great energy. How can you not have a blast with them? And I agree, Anna. Cliff's like my favorite. And then we have Logan, 30-minute full body strength on August 4th at noon. And it was from AMA Jar 3, great class format and workout. And then the last one I have here is a Matt Wilper's 15-minute interval run on August 5th at 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, great training class.
And then Sam Yo's 45-minute Power Zone ride from August 5th. This was from AZ Onion, who said great structure and cool playlist. And then Camila Ramon in her 30-minute Disney 2000s ride, also from August 5th. This came from Carly Smith 82, who said a fun Disney playlist with Camila. And then we have Jeffrey McEachern and Eric Yeager's 30-minute 2-for-1 summer break run, which was in German on August 5th. This came from Eric WRC1, who said both of them are great, but together even better.
And then we have Chelsea Jackson Roberts' 20-minute mindful walking meditation on August 6th at 12 a.m. And that was recommended by Paula J.H., such a relaxing stroll with Chelsea. Then we have Susie Chan, 20-minute 90s dance walk outdoor audio. So this one's for outdoor on August 6th at 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time from Gwen Gets To. I love the chill and vibey music in this one. And then my last one is Christian Van Velt, 45-minute pro cyclist race simulation ride from August 6th at 12 a.m. from Lizzie HHRX. Can't get better than training with a pro like Christian.
And then to wrap things up, we got Andy Spear and Robin Arzon's 30-minute hit after hit 2-for-1 outdoor audio run, also from August 6th. This came from Spins for Rider 2, who said, I've enjoyed this whole series of hit after hit classes.
I've been hearing such good things about that.
Yeah, thanks again for joining us. I believe Amanda's going to be back this week, but you never know. We're got people traveling over the summer, so we'll still keep bringing you the show. Never know who's going to show up, but we'll have someone here to bring you the news. So thanks again for joining us this week, Holly, and for last week.
All right, thank you for having me.
All right, and for me here in Atlanta, thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see everyone next time.
Thank you for watching Pelo Buddy TV, your source for everything Peloton, by the community, for the community. Work out with us using the Pelo Buddy TV leaderboard tag. And don't forget to find us on Facebook, Instagram, and X at Pelo Buddy. Don't forget that we have a podcast available. Just search for Pelo Buddy wherever you get your podcasts from. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode.